Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family, and we're so delighted that you've welcomed us into your home. You know, we would love to hear from you, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@EWTN.com. And remember, because we all lead such very busy lives, you can listen to our show at Podcast Central. Just go out to EWTN Podcast Central at EWTN.com/radio/podcast, or wherever you happen to be listening to podcasts. Now today, we are welcoming Steven Hemler to our show. Steven is the president of the Catholic Apologetics Institute of North America and author of 4 published books on apologetics. He has a Master of Pastoral Studies degree from Loyola University of Chicago, as well as a bachelor's and a master's degree in civil/structural engineering from Virginia Tech. And after a 33-year professional engineering career, including 13 years in Saudi Arabia, Steve took early retirement in 2011 to follow a calling to serve God and the church full-time. And since then, he has done over 600 apologetic presentations to about 30,000 people in 20 dioceses worldwide. He also developed and teaches online courses for Catholic International University Certificate in Apologetics. So he and his wife, Linda, have been married for 47 years. They have 3 adult children, and as well as 4 precious grandchildren. And they live in Culpeper, Virginia. And today he's going to be speaking with us about one of the books that he's authored, The Busy Parent's Guide to the Catholic Faith. Short answers to big questions, which we like because we get a lot of big questions as grandparents, right?
Right. We had Steven on some years back,
Yes.
in 2020 in the summertime during COVID.
Yes.
And so we did that kind of digitally, long distance, and it was just really a great show. And since then, he's done more writing. The Busy Parent's Guide to the Catholic Faith, short answers to the big questions. The thing I like about him especially is that saying that Father Joseph uses, because he was a farmer.
Yes.
And he says, bring the hay down to the cows.
Right.
What he means by that, feed them in a way that they can receive it and understand.
Mm-hmm. And Steve says it, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
He said
Yes.
that. I'm glad. I'm afraid you're going to put those words in his mouth.
No, I heard him, and which is true. It's like, right, keep it simple.
Yeah,
and sometimes we complicate it, and it doesn't need to be so complicated.
Yeah, I like it because I really feel like he writes from the family standpoint, father and mother standpoint, parish standpoint. He's got, books that he's written. He's got, different presentations that he makes, and he's doing all that now at the midst of this time, so you can have him come out and do that. I think he really is being used to make a difference in the lives of parishes and families. So plenty more to come. We'll be right back. A lot to learn. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, our guest today is Steven Hemler. He is the author of The Busy Parent's Guide to the Catholic Faith. Short answers to the big questions. You could go out to his website, cainaweb.org. Well, we're excited to have you face to face. The last time we had you was during that wonderful pandemic that we all went through with COVID.
Yes.
And so it's nice to have you face to face here.
Yeah, well, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, we want you to tell our family a little bit about yourself and your beautiful ministry.
Well, thank you. So, I was raised in Hampton, Virginia, and became committed to the Catholic Church, I guess you'd say. I had a conversion experience in high school due to a great CCD teacher we had there. and got pretty involved in things. And then, of course, I went off to Virginia Tech and got those degrees. And we lived in Northeast Tennessee for a while. I worked there, and I lost that job. And then I had been interested in a friend of mine who worked for the Saudi Arabian oil company, and he talked about the lifestyle over there, and that seemed pretty interesting. So that was in '97 that I lost the job. And then in February of '98, I went over to kind of check it out. The family stayed back, and it was a good place. And so we went over there, and we stayed there for 13 years.
Wow.
And really enjoyed it there. We did a lot of traveling. I worked in their safety department. And so the standards that we developed, the corporate standards, are still in effect there. And I'm sure it was a very pro-life job. I'm sure that people are alive today that would not be had we not done the work that we did, especially contractors. And so we did a lot of traveling, went all over Europe, Rome, Israel twice, Turkey, Ephesus, just all over India, Thailand, and our kids enjoyed it there. It was like the 1950s. You know, it was about 10,000 people in the community, but it's fenced, gated, secured, and they could just ride their bikes around all evening and not have to worry about them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what most people don't know is that we have a priest there, and we had mass, I guess they still do, in the weekends in the school gym, in the middle school, the elementary school gym. The Protestants have their services in the middle school. We were in the elementary school gym, and they're in the middle school. And so the priest there, he was concerned because they send the kids off in the 10th grade to boarding school. Anywhere they want to go in the world, they pick boarding school. And our sons picked Woodbury Forest School in Orange, Virginia. Like I said, we're from Virginia. My parents are in Williamsburg. They're 92 years old.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Praise the Lord.
And they've been married 71 years. So, yeah, it's a long time. So, anyway, because the kids went off to boarding school at such a young age and were away from their parents, the priests there, as part of their confirmation preparation, wanted to equip them for challenges to their faith and to their morals that they would face at such a young age. And so we developed what we called faith challenges and moral challenges. And these were developed based on some one-page summaries that I had written of key learnings about the faith, that I had taken books on business trips for years in my 20s and 30s. You know, we all have these questions. How do we know God exists? How about Jesus? You know, how do we know he's the Son of God who rose from the dead? What about suffering? How are we saved? You know, why go to church? What about the Eucharist? And all these big questions. And I wrote up these one-page summaries. And so when the priests there wanted to have something to equip the young people, I just took those summaries and converted them into PowerPoint with speaker notes. And I had learned how to do video editing because I took our VHS family tapes, converted them to, which I had quite a few, converted them to hard drive, and then burned them to DVD.
You're even converting your tapes. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a big job. So anyway, I thought, well, maybe it'd be good to put some videos, because kids like videos, in these PowerPoint presentations. And so I'd use these short video clips, 5 minutes or less, and you know, in between the bullets on the PowerPoint slide. And so we started doing that with the students, and they really liked it. And then I would go down to Dubai. For 7 or 8 years, I went down there every year to their catechetical conference, the Diocesan Catechetical Conference. And it was so well received, people, standing room only and stuff. So I had long felt called to serve God in the church full time. And that's one of the reasons I felt like God led us to Saudi Arabia, is so I could take early retirement at age 55 and be able to, you know, serve God while still supporting the family. And so I did that, and I took that early retirement, and then I felt that God was calling me to take those presentations that were being very well received to a wider audience. And so that's what we've done since 2011, founded the Catholic Apologetics Institute of North America, CAINA, C-A-I-N-A. And then we've done, like you say, over 600 presentations. There's
Incredible.
quite a few, there's several people involved that help give these presentations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do it at parishes and schools and conferences, mostly in the Mid-Atlantic, Southern, Southeast area.
And all that's up on your website.
Yes.
You're still doing this. And like I said, I tried to say at the beginning of the time, is that your implementation of faith and morals and their, well, you got here in the sub point of your book, short answers to the big questions. So you can look at that and say, well, that sounds pretty superficial, short, but all the meat's there, and the attention span is only so long, especially if you're dealing with kids and so on, and you're going to get the full deal, whether through reading the book or a presentation that's being done. So we're strongly recommending that people look up your website, have you come on in and do this, and get the books, because you're really making a difference.
Thank you.
On the ground, and you really speak with the heart of a parent and grandparent, parish person, and you're just saying, hey, we want to implement this because it seems like everything in the world is attacking the stuff that you're talking about. And if we're not talking about that as a family and in our parish, what do we expect is going to be the outcome of this when our children are being bombarded in this way? Mention quickly your other books. I think a number of them are up on EWTNRC.com, and why this book?
Yes. Okay. So it was never my intention to write a book. This is quite surprising. I left Saudi Arabia. I had no idea of any inkling that I would write a book, but God had these plans. So when we moved back to Culpeper, I was talking to our parish, the DRE, and the youth minister, and they really liked these programs that we had developed, faith challenges and moral challenges, and they wanted us to do them in the parish. And so we were talking at Mass one day, we were telling the parishioners what we were going to do. And after Mass, this lady came up to me. She worked for Catholic Distance University, which is now Catholic International University. And she said, this is great. I want to tell people back there about this and see what we can do. Well, in 2012, they asked me to develop a 3-week-long online apologetics seminar on the evidence of God's existence, the scientific and the human evidence, looking at creation and evolution. So I used those short summaries, I call them my life's little learnings, and the speaker notes, those summaries created this, I used those to create the PowerPoint presentations and the speaker notes. So I converted all that over into text, lecture that people could read. And it was very well received, and I've been doing them every year, 3 or 4 different seminars every year since 2012. And when I was done with that first one, I looked and I had a stack of papers, and I thought, shoot, I could make a book out of that. And so I did some more editing, and eventually Tan Books picked it up, and it's The Reality of God, the layman's guide to scientific evidence for the Creator.
Yeah.
So again, I feel my calling is to take this, very high level that can be made very complicated and hard to understand, like you mentioned, and put it in plain English for regular people.
Right.
And so that's what we did. The key word in that subtitle is layman. It goes through the scientific and human evidence of God's existence, as well as church teaching on the harmony between evolution and creation. And so there's not a conflict there. And that book did very well. And then the university wanted some more seminars on Jesus, salvation, suffering, the church, and so those led to my second and third book. My second book is the one we talked about before during COVID on Zoom, so it's Search No More: The Keys to Truth and Happiness. And it makes the case that the truth and happiness we're looking for in life are found in Jesus and the church. And so the third book deals with suffering, that big question of why would a loving God allow evil, pain, and suffering. So meanwhile, those life's little learnings were still sitting around, these pages, one-page summaries. And, I thought doing something with them, and then our son and some others that work with Cana said, well, why don't you make it a book for parents? Parents are very busy. They need these short, concise, clear, correct, compelling, engineering, logic, rational explanations of key Catholic beliefs. And so that's what we did, and we added a prologue that deals with, how to use this book and how to talk to your children about questions about the faith. And so then Scepter Publishers picked that up. And it is interesting to note that this book does have the imprimatur from our bishop of the Diocese of Arlington. And so it's theologically sound, Bishop Michael Burbidge.
He's absolutely fantastic. We have so many people on from that diocese, and I know why after hearing him a couple of times. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
he's a great guy.
He is.
Yeah.
And you got the imprimatur on the
Yeah.
Busy Parents Guide,
Yes, yes.
right? Which is
and they
beautiful.
reviewed it very carefully. It was very
Oh, I'm sure they
He had
did.
a lot of edits.
Yeah.
So some of the books that you mentioned, I hear a lot that's in this book. You've got, all these different parts to the book. Questions about God and creation. How do we know God exists, and so on. Questions about Jesus. Just mentioned in the first one, was Jesus a real historical person? Part 3, questions about suffering. Part 4, questions about salvation. 5, questions about the Catholic Church. And then part 6, questions about life and sex. And again, these are just, short, and then you got questions after for discussion and so on. So you can really use it.
Yes. So we did put a discussion question at the end of every chapter. Every chapter is 2-3 pages in the book. These were, when typed up, they were 1 page before. And so, yeah, it's meant to help equip parents to be able to explain to their children the answers to these big questions, like how do we know God exists? How do we know we have a soul? How do we know heaven and hell are real? How do we know the Eucharist is really the body and blood of Christ? Suffering, all these big questions, evolution. And so the answers are clear, and also grandparents, godparents, catechists, teachers, anybody who's interested in learning more about the Catholic faith can find these answers to the big questions. Again, it's theologically sound. And so even parents can, if a child has a question and they may not feel really confident in answering it, they could just give the book to the child, and the teenager especially, or young adult, and they could read the chapter for themselves. And then there is a discussion question to prompt.
Yeah.
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 And I think what happens is sometimes we assume as parents they're getting that formation, maybe in Catholic schools, maybe in their religious education classes, and maybe not.
Right.
And so, meanwhile, we've invested and we've paid all this money, and they're coming out less Catholic than when we sent them, and they don't know their faith, and they're poorly formed, right? And so then we as parents, or when the children, and you're a grandparent, you have raised your children, they ask you probably the deepest questions at the most inappropriate time of life, usually before they go into bed. And it could be like, Mom, who made God?
Yeah.
Or, like you said, why does suffering happen? Why did my friend's mother die?
Yeah.
All those questions.
All the sexuality questions.
Yeah. Right.
Or maybe they're gee, I have feminine tendencies or something. Am I a girl? Am I a boy? And this boy in my class is, transgender. And what is that all about? So I think your chapter on sexuality is just really important at this time. And whether they're young or whether they're in high school or coming home from college with all that they're hearing there and experiencing, and what's wrong with that if somebody really believes that they are this? Why would you counter that? How do you counter that? How do you help them along? You also have, at the beginning of your book, I think you just did a great job. It's very sensitive. You're a very analytical guy, but you're a very sensitive guy because, you're a husband and you're a parent and you want to get this across. But how to use this book and how to talk with your children about the big questions and to talk with other people in respect, how to listen, which is so important because too often, we start speaking before we even got what's going on. And so that's excellent there, and then you've got all these different areas.
Yeah, actually, many of us with Cana helped with this book. In fact, my daughter-in-law, she did a lot of the writing of that part you're talking about, the prologue there.
That's
so, it brought in that perspective. But back to the question about are they getting the formation? It doesn't seem like apologetics has been included in a lot of these schools and curriculums, CCD and stuff. And it seems like that children are not being equipped to be able to explain and share why we believe what we believe. And so I think that's very, very important, is to be able to answer these big questions. And surveys show that like almost half, 42% of those raised Catholic no longer call themselves Catholic.
Right.
And this is a massive hemorrhaging of our faith. And about 80-some% of them that do leave the church do so before age 23. And so the reason they cite is they have they just don't believe what the church teaches anymore. So I don't think that they had their questions answered adequately. And another thing is that surveys or studies have shown that there are stages of faith that we go through. And the two that are most relevant with today, seems like, are the searching faith stage, where we ask these big questions, and by getting them answered, we can move on to what's called the owned faith stage. It's our own faith. We can internalize the faith and commit to it at that point. It's no longer the faith of our parents. We're not just doing it because they said so or because the church said so. It used to be people accepted that, but now the kids want to know for themselves why I need to believe this. And so that's the important thing about this book.
We're going to take a break and hold you over for the final segment. It's the Busy Parent's Guide to the Catholic Faith, short answers to the big questions. This is really tailored to people that who are giving instruction in parishes, parents, grandparents. It's all there for you. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away. Welcome back. We're finishing our conversation with Steven Hemler's powerful book, The Busy Parent's Guide to the Catholic Faith, short answers to the big questions. We only have a couple of minutes, but let's continue to get your insights on parents working with the children, conversations, or sense of inadequacy in addressing this.
Yeah, it seems like parents today don't really feel like they can competently address the questions that their children have, because they were probably not given the answers to those informed properly when they were young. And many people do leave a religious education at a very young age. You know, confirmation is often seen as graduation.
They took it out,
And that's in middle school a lot of times. And so they just weren't, given a formation. Homilies, how often do we hear homilies address theological topics, these big questions? And so it's just difficult for parents to find these answers. That's why people like our presentations. We do those adult faith formation. Like I said, we do them with students and at conferences. And so people like coming to these presentations. They like that mixture of the video with the PowerPoint, and then we have questions afterwards. So it's all help. It's what I call, our ministry is to what I call equip the saints. Help committed Catholics be able to better explain and share why we believe what we believe.
Equip the saints for the work of the ministry. Some people have a special classification in that, but the domestic church has a special designation in that for parents. Like this is where it's supposed to begin and happen and be overseen. So this is wonderful, and we're so grateful for you being with us today, and we want to unpack this more fully tomorrow. So we got a lot more to share, different areas you'd like to go over. And so if people want to get you to come on in, what's the best thing to do to see what you're doing and so on?
Well, they can go to our website, the Catholic Apologetics Institute of North America. That's CAINA, CAINAWEB.org. And so they can get more information about our presentations there.
Good.
Perfect.
Be sure to join us again tomorrow. As I said, we'll continue the conversation with Steven Hemler. And I'll tell you, this is going to be one book that's not going to get lost in the midst of my collection of books. Why? Because it's something I might need to pull out every day. We just did our cousincation with the 17 grandkids, and we did address some of these things, which is allow them to speak. And you don't want to feel a sense of inadequacy. And this book will really address some of the most important issues, including the sexuality issues, a lot of the conversation today and what's going on. And again, what happens in the choices our children make, is their choice with the Lord. But we need to be ready to give an answer for the hope that's within us, and do it respectfully and in love, and trust the Lord and pray. Look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You're never alone. You're always at home with Jim and Joy. Bye now.